Our project was intended to bring about awareness of the historic and current problem of gender inequality. We used the Salem witch trials event as an example of this, creating a scenario and telling the story through short performances of different characters and roles, with the final performance linking to the modern world, and how sexual prejudice is still a problem that needs to be resolved. We all felt the assessment would be a good place to express our story, using visuals as a means to strengthen our narration amongst the audience. I was tasked with writing 2 short songs that add up to 5 minutes, from the roles of a priest and a judge. My characters would be stereotyped as men from the time. Leon and Phoebe start by setting the scene, followed by Becky's dreamscape scene, before my performance as the priest, in which I pray to God for help eradicating witchcraft. Phoebe would then follow as a jealous neighbour, who basically grasses out a woman for being a witch, even though she wasn't. Then I'll follow again with the judge, sentencing the accused witches to death, to which Flora follows on from the gallows before death. Leon then describes the scene before singing a song about after death, and finally Amelia writes a strong empowerment song for women and reveals the overall message of our project. I started listening to some folk music to help inspire me write a riff for the songs. This was because I wanted to make a very basic song on acoustic that could replicate sounds from that era, i.e. a lute. I ended up listening to an artist called Nick Drake, who used to write very calming but dark acoustic songs in the weird and unusual tunings. I tried to replicate this for my performance, tuning my acoustic guitar to E, B, E, A, C sharp, D. I felt at a kind of off-putting but calming vibe, considering the C sharp and D clashed with each other. This feeling of contrapuntal sound helped shape my songs and became the style indicator for the performance. I found playing open chords with one root note worked best for my voice and strumming style. I decided to use the root notes for E, G, A and F sharp. Of course, these chords would be transposed to fit on a capo 2 of the fretboard, as it suited my voice better in performance. I also began to pluck at higher notes in between the root notes to pick out that uneasy contrapuntal sound. I then repeated the chord sequences, creating the verse. I then made a contrasting chord section which became the chorus. They used the same chords as the verses to keep it linked in. To differentiate between chorus and verse, I'll play the chorus a little quieter, to emphasise on the tone of my voice and the feeling it will convey with the audience. After all, the chorus was the most intimate part of the song. I also decided not to have anyone from my group playing with me, as it would take away the idea of just being the priest and judge's thoughts. A solo performance would be more intimate and would connect better with a small audience. Overall, the form of the song followed a very simple verse-chorus structure, and the phrasing a standard 4-bar. It was very simple, but I felt this style was effective in telling part of a larger picture. Between the end of the chorus and start of the next verse, I played 2 bars worth of open strumming. It just felt right with the song, coming back to the calming open chords that could connote loneliness and a thought from the character. I felt the role of a priest should show the witches some mercy, but still be very staunch in my approach to our relation with the faith of God. I referred to the song Praying by Plan B, as I liked its use of "O Lord" consistently throughout the song and how he seeks for mercy. When performed, I sang the song in a mid-range to low voice to connote a feeling of conversation and thought. This was to help set the tone and complemented the tone and key of the guitar as well. For the visuals of the priest song, I sourced a clip from YouTube of a drone flying inside a church, giving quite a unique perspective that felt like your soul was gliding around the church. I then added some fire, CGI, from YouTube to enhance the feeling of hate, anger and tension amongst the villagers towards the witches, and I was trying to replicate these feelings amongst the audience. This also links into Liss's 10 basic film music functions, representation of place. I used the church to show the audience my character was a man of God. For the judge, I felt I needed to show no empathy and just be harsh in my words, sentencing these women to death. I followed the same cause to keep it relevant to my performance, but the way I sang the lyrics were different. I had this one line, "It's understood these witches dance with the devil." I changed the structuring of this to, "It's understood that these witches." I moved "It's understood" back to the very start of the bar, so it gave the song a more of a melodic tone that bounced around. This was recognised by my peer Leon, who said it was a very nice touch to the song. However, like the priest song, I sang in a mid to low range as it suited the guitar tone. However, I felt I could be more aggressive with my tone of voice in order to replicate the assertive feeling of a judge sentencing someone to death. The visuals for the judge song continued with the flames in the foreground, adding a sense of continuity of resentment for the witches. I decided to edit in a blinking eye close up and looped it. This was to reference the lyrics, all rise before the eyes of God, to give a sense that he's always watching and also, like in a courtroom, always being judged. I then saw a fellow peers playlist for female empowerment, the first song being Single Ladies by Beyonce. I edited in the music video for Single Ladies into the pupil centre of the eye, as I felt this would be a controversial talking point about my performance and as a reflection on modern culture. I also thought it was cool to have, and I just thought the conversations with Macbeth and the Three Witches overall would just be provocative, and felt it would help build up some tension to be released for the final song, which Amelia wrote from a feminist point of view.